Hello, world, and welcome to Post Credits Commentary, a podcast where we make commentary post credits.
I'm Ian.
And I'm Allison.
Join us weekly as we give you our unfiltered opinions and hottest takes on recently watched films.
And spoiler alert, there will be spoilers.
So grab your popcorn, silence your phones, and let's roll the tape. This week, we are going to be discussing Sinners. Michael B. Jordan stars in this Ryan Coogler film. It takes place in the 1930s, early 1930s in Mississippi, I believe. It's a vampire thriller. It's labeled as horror. I don't think it's necessarily a horror movie. I think it's a thriller that involves Michael B. Jordan playing two characters, twin brothers, who are opening a juke joint, and they want to have their cousin play, and the cousin, Sammy, accidentally brings vampires to the juke joint with his music. So that's basically a breakdown of the plot. Allison, did I miss anything there?
No, I think that was spot on.
Wow, thank you. So here's how we're going to do this. Since this is the first episode, we're going to do some initial thoughts first, then we'll get a little deeper into plot, characters, direction, cinematography, the score, soundtrack, and then our favorite moments, and then we'll give a final rating out of 5 stars.
In half increments.
Of course. So let's dive into our initial thoughts. I'll start. I love this movie so much. It pretty much made us want to do this podcast because we really, I loved it. I've seen it 3 times at this point.
You saw it 3 times?
Uh-huh.
When did you see it a 3rd time?
This weekend.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I've seen it 3 times. I love it. I love it more every time. My favorite time seeing it was the second time on IMAX. If you have a chance to see it in IMAX, I know they're re-releasing it. Definitely go see it in IMAX. That's the better way to do it. But if you don't have an IMAX nearby, that doesn't mean not to see it. Go see it anyway.
Even if you only have one of those, low-key IMAX, still totally worth it. Mm-hmm. The larger screen is amazing.
Yeah, and what he does with it, we'll get there.
Yeah.
Visuals, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But
initial thoughts. I also love this movie. Fun fact about me: I don't rewatch movies, but I've already seen this one twice, and I would like to see it again.
See, and you're shocked I've seen it 3 times.
No, I was shocked that you hadn't told me you saw it 3 times.
Well, never came up. So, let's dive into the overall plot, how we felt about it, script, characters. We'll start there.
Okay, I'll start. Characters. I think all the characters in this movie were very well done. Not just creating them, but also the acting. I think Michael B. Jordan did a great job playing 2 different people. I also think the visuals and costume design helped with it, but he definitely pulled off 2 separate personalities.
I agree, and after I've seen it 3 times now, I think there is a clear distinction between the 2 characters that he plays. Even though they are brothers, they do have different personalities. He speaks differently as the 2 of them. I think it's a great performance from Michael B. Jordan.
Some of the more background characters, I guess, I think were also really well. Haley Steinfeld's character. I like it when, it's somebody you know, a famous actor, actress, but, you never think while watching it, that's them. It felt like she was this other person, so I think she did a great job there. All of the background characters, I think, the lesser known ones, I think were a little more for comedic effort. I think they also did a great job. I think everybody felt real.
I mean, I think a big standout for me is uh, Miles Catton,
Yes.
who played Sammy. This
Yeah.
was his first appearance.
First appearance really in anything. Like he is a music artist, but he's just going to be releasing his main album this year.
I mean, he was spectacular, and his voice too was so good. And music plays a huge part in the movie, and we'll get down there eventually to talk about score and soundtrack. But he's he's an all time casting for like this specific role that he has. Great find by whoever found him. Outstanding find. Speaking a little bit to the negatives, I have seen it 3 times. Perline is the weakest character to me.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, who would you say the weakest character is, if not her?
Weakest character? What do you mean by weakest?
The least interesting.
Okay.
Like the weakest.
I don't know. I think she plays a fundamental part in how they.
That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking who's the weakest character.
Probably that old white man.
Old white man.
Yeah, the KKK man.
He's so side character.
Exactly. Okay.
I mean, of like our core group.
Oh, Perline. Oh, sorry. I was confusing her with the baby mama. Smokes lady.
Oh yeah, no, I would never.
I was gonna say you said that, and I was like, ew, and I think that's a hot take.
That's Annie.
Yeah, people were praising her, so I was real confused.
She's great.
Okay. Yep.
Sweet.
Got you. Okay, I would agree with that, but I think she was kind of supposed to be like that. I mean, they already set her up as like cheating on her husband. Spoiler alert.
You said there would be spoilers.
Yeah, I know.
I'd say. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I do agree. I don't think like she really, other than like maybe Sammy like just showing an aspect of like becoming a man and growing up. I don't think she really did much for the plot.
I think she exists kind of to serve the point of where Sammy is at in his life, right? Like that's why she's there. But I feel like in terms of her having an arc, she doesn't really.
No.
She just serves a purpose for Sammy to continue his arc.
Yeah, when we meet her, and then by the time we say goodbye to her, she is the exact same person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other one that I would probably argue fits this narrative or same mold would be Cornbread. Cornbread is also a weak character to me. Like I said, I think Perline is the weakest, but
I think Cornbread's also there, kind of for comedic effect. He's
for sure.
pretty funny. The conversations around him are funny.
I think they just needed someone larger to prove that vampires need to be invited in. Because if it was like a skinny person, Annie being like, "Why can't you come in here?" wouldn't really have made too much sense.
That's true.
We'll jump to Annie. Annie, fantastic character.
I loved
Might
Annie.
honestly be my favorite character.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what? Me too, maybe.
We'll jump down to themes down below, but I think she plays like a very important part to one of the many lessons I think you can pull out of this. And I just think her, well, she serves the purpose of being the narrative exposition person. Right? So instead of someone who knows nothing about vampires explaining how vampires work, at least she can do it. And they write it in such a way that she's wrong for a majority of the movie. She thinks they're hates, not vampires. And then for her to slowly realize and then know what we need to do.
Yeah, I also like how like in the beginning when we first are introduced to her, she's like making up the mojo bag for Smoke, and like you can tell he's kind of like, I don't know if I believe all this. But the minute that it hits the fan, there everybody's like, nope, we're gonna listen to her.
Yep. And the other thing with the mojo bag, I would say, is they do have that conversation in her hut where they talk about this mojo bag has kept you safe for years, and he's like, why not our baby? And
Mm-hmm.
like that touches, like that's, I think a lot of people can relate to that because there's a lot of people where I think religion is important to them, faith is important to them, but you can never really answer why some bad things happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like he kind of turned away from that after his baby's passing, but she kept going. But at the end of the day, she is the one that ultimately saves him from his fate near the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm. I do also like. I think it helps in distinguishing Smoke and Stack as well is their choice in women.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Smoke who goes for this more traditional looking black woman in size and beauty standards. But I do think it was more so for that time. I think it was pretty accurate. But then you have Stack who goes for this pretty thin white woman, but also the fact that Smoke and Stack left their home, but Smoke's woman stayed behind, whereas Stack's woman was just willing to follow him anywhere. I think it adds to Smoke and Stack's separate identities as well.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Speaking of thin white woman, should we talk about Haley Steinfeld in this movie?
Yeah.
I think she was good too. Her character, Mary, um, has probably one of the more important character arcs, I would say. They do a great job setting her up as someone who is in pain, and that is
Mhm.
why she is the first to fall, ultimately, you know?
Mhm.
Um, Something I think this movie did very well with its characters was making all of them have some sort of hurt, some sort of pain in them, and how they choose to deal with that throughout the movie, I think is very interesting.
Mhm.
So, I think that's most of the characters out of the way. Delta Slim, we didn't touch on.
Slim.
He was
Hilarious.
hilarious, the real comedic relief of
He
the
was
movie.
so funny the entire time. I don't think there's ever a scene where he wasn't funny.
Yeah, I agree with that.
To the end.
He again, he's another one that's like hurting, and but he plays a crazy role at the end, um, where he ultimately decides to save
Sacrifice
everyone
himself.
because he's dealt with the devil numerous times. His own words. Um, yeah. So let's talk about overall plot points. First half, second half, I do feel like are two very different movies. I like them both. I personally kind of prefer the first half over the second half, which is less vampires and more of setting up everything. I enjoyed that, the character work there, the story they were telling, um, and it all pays off in the second half. So like I do think it's a very coherent movie overall. There's
Mhm.
a lot of genres going on in here, but I do think it all works. Um,
Yeah, I will say the first time we watched it, I did think the first half was a little slow, but I think it was because I knew vampires were coming and I was waiting for the anticipation. And so I kept being like, all right, when are they going to show up? Um, Definitely appreciated it more the second watch. And I love a period piece, so like it was great.
the and initial setup where they're buying the juke joint has so many clever dialogue options and hints as to what's really going on already, and it's like the first 10 minutes of the film,
Mhm.
and it pays off so well at the end of the movie when everything that Remick did say, it pays off.
Mhm.
We should talk about Remick.
I was just thinking we didn't
Can't
even
believe
address
we haven't
Remick,
discussed him.
the main villain.
Remick is great. Everything he stands for is outstanding. He is, maybe a hot take. He's evil, but he doesn't think he's evil.
I don't know.
So in a way, he's like not evil.
I think maybe he knows. He just, I don't want to say he doesn't care, but thinks. I don't know.
When he says, "If you give me Sammy, I'll let all of the rest of you live," do you think he meant that?
No. So I think he was evil.
I think he did.
But like, I don't know, because when we learn about his backstory, I think there's more to this man.
I mean,
He killed an entire ship full of people.
that's true.
He didn't have to.
But maybe they attacked him first. Maybe it's self-defense. I do think he believed what he preached. I do think he genuinely believes that everyone would have been happier.
I partially agree with that, but I also disagree because he wouldn't be chasing after Sammy to find his old relatives if he was truly happy. He wasn't content. He needed more.
That's a fair point. That is a fair point. The scene where he Irish dances is so good.
A fun fact, the actor already knew how to Irish dance. Did not need lessons for that.
That doesn't surprise me.
No.
He looks Irish.
Also, just the name Remick. I really like that name. I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard it before. Back to the plot.
Yeah, sorry, sidetrack. So we talked about first and second half. What do you think of the juke joint scenes?
Probably the best scenes of the entire movie. The montage main music scene, amazing. Like, we'll talk about it in the score part, but even the scene itself, and how they incorporated different, like, I guess the ancestors sort of into the scene. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah. We could talk about it anywhere because I have visuals that I want to talk about it with, score obviously, and then just what's going on. I guess like that is the first. Do we have two climaxes in a film?
Yeah, I guess like that's when we're introduced to the vampires.
Yeah, it's like one of the peak moments. Maybe not the climax of the film, but like it.
I don't know.
It's the start of the rising action.
Yeah.
I guess so. Like the whole first hour of the film is all exposition.
Yeah.
At this point starts the rising action, and I feel like you can feel it almost.
Yeah.
The feel of the film takes a turn at that point.
Yes, you have definitely realized that you're entering a new phase.
But I agree. I mean, for a movie that takes place 2/3 of it in the juke joint, I think they did enough to make the juke joint very interesting and fun. Like we see a lot of music performances. They just all look like they're having a fun time. So,
I will say, I have done a little more research. There is the one scene once it's down to just like a few of them, and they haven't let the vampires in yet, but she's about to lose her mind and just be like, "All right, come in." we were at first. Like, where are these random extras coming from?
I was gonna bring this up because I've watched it 3 times now.
They are there the whole time.
The third time I noticed them, and I
Yeah,
was like, "Oh my god, they're there!"
they are there the whole time. We just
Yeah,
don't realize it.
there's one of them is like smoking a cigarette behind um, Smoke at one point, and then two of them are sitting on the stage behind Annie.
I think somebody also said that at least one of them, maybe two of them, are like in the circle when they're in that circle.
They're just cut off of.
Yeah, they just don't focus on them.
But yes, I did notice them the third time, and so that thing I hated is gone.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do still think it's weird that like the shot right before they all break in, they're just missing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is what it is.
Because I kept thinking about that scene, and I was like, I don't think Ryan Coogler would like overlook that, or like, so I looked into it more, and he didn't.
Yeah, they were definitely there. I was gonna bring that up. I mean, I thought the script was clever too. Like it was very funny.
Yes.
The funny and serious when it needs to be. The lines that Haley Steinfeld has are so good. Like they're just I can't repeat them.
Yes. Also, this kind of goes back to characters, but we didn't address the Southern Asian American characters. Which when they were first on the screen, I was like, oh, that's cool. To have these Asian characters speaking in like very Southern American accents. But since the film has come out, I saw there's a small, it's not really a documentary, but it was like on a news channel for somewhere in Mississippi of like, this is an actual culture of these Asian American people who did have like, even the people they were interviewing, they live down there now and they have these full Southern accents. And I thought that was like a nice touch on probably a piece of history and culture that most people don't know about.
I had to explain to my friend the third time that that's historically accurate, that they had a black store and a white store across the street from each other. He didn't understand that.
Owned by the same people.
Same family, yeah. I mean, hey, Grace did nothing wrong.
I mean, had to happen at some point.
You could argue Grace was correct
in letting them in
recognizing that that was the time to fight.
I mean, if she hadn't fought then, they probably would have gone for her child and the rest of the town.
Yeah, I go back and forth on it.
I kind of feel like maybe like she could have been like, all right, let's come up with a game plan to let them in, not just like, surprise, come in.
Yeah, I think she was trying to, but then Smoke was like, not now, because he was having his panic attack.
Yeah, well.
But, I mean, at the same time, you could argue she's incorrect, because they said they were going to go get the daughter, but then they all circled around and sang hymns, so, like, maybe they wouldn't have gone. It really wasn't that much time left in the night.
This is true.
Like, real time. How long is that fight? Like, 20 minutes? So.
It's true.
They probably maybe could have lasted 20 minutes. That's all I'm thinking. The other thing I want to talk about when it comes to plot and script is just something I've seen a lot of online. Over-reliance of flashbacks. I don't really know what they're talking about.
See, you had said this previously, and I kept trying to think of when they show a flashback, and I feel like there aren't really that many.
I tried to pay really close attention on my third time, and it's 3. It's 3 times. And, like, I understand the desire for people that, like, are really into movies to, like, not be bathing through movies. I get that. I understand. But there's a lot of general moviegoers that like things spelled out for them. And I think having those specific flashbacks, I think are fine. Did I need them? No. Like, did I need a flashback when Annie's like, you have someone waiting for you on the other side too, and then it flashes back to like the baby's grave? No, I didn't need that one. I knew what they meant. Do other people know?
Maybe
I
not.
don't know. Depends.
Hmm.
Um, the one that I did genuinely forget was the flashback where they talk about if the clan ever steps foot on this land again, we'll kill you all. Because that
Hmm.
happens first thing in the
Yeah.
movie. I did forget about it. So when I came back, I was like, oh, yeah, that's right.
Mhm. What was the third time?
I knew you were going to ask for that. And I can't remember anymore.
That's
Um,
okay.
but everything else that's like a flashback is fresh footage
Mhm.
that
Yes.
they filmed.
We haven't
Because
seen yet.
everything, like when Smoke's making a cigarette, all those flashes are new scenes because we didn't see them
Yeah.
set up the juke joint.
I also feel like those flashes are for a different purpose cuz like it's supposed to kind of represent your life flashing before your eyes.
Right.
So I think that's totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think it was overused. I think the flashbacks were fine when they were put in. I also think that Ryan Coogler made this movie with the intention of not making like any sequels or prequels or anything like that. So he wanted it to be a full movie. So he wanted you to understand exactly what he was trying to say.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the third one I was thinking about it. When Remick is explaining that they are all going to die the next morning anyway, and it flashes back to him um, meeting the husband and wife and showing that they're a clan.
Ah, yes.
And then I guess technically four, because in that same scene they flash back to Harwood.
See, I kind of think that flashback, like at that point, is needed.
Yeah, because he's in the movie for all of 5 seconds up to
Mm-hmm.
that point.
Yeah.
So, any other points about plot, script, characters?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Um, cinematography, visuals, direction.
Amazing.
I feel
10
like
out
we
of
have
10
so
recommend.
much to talk about here. We'll try to keep it a little bit short. I'm gonna go crazy for cinematography and also direction, I guess, and visuals. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
go crazy for all of them. The camera work in this movie is so clean and
Mm-hmm.
it's so smooth. And there were so many moments where I caught myself like, this isn't. There's not a cut here.
Mm.
It's
Mm-hmm. One
I
takes.
love one takes. There's one I gave it credit the first 2 times I watched it. On the third one, there is a cut and it bothers me.
Oh, which
But it's
one?
when Sammy's going to get um, Stack and he's in the room with Mary
Mm-hmm.
and the camera follows him leaving the room. It's pans over to Delta Slim, who's now watching the door. Pans back to Sammy. He opens the door. You see what's going on, and then for some reason, instead of it panning back to Delta Slim so that
Mm-hmm.
he can speak, it cuts to him,
Oh.
and then it cuts back, and then is continuous again.
Mm.
And I get you probably didn't want to make the general audience like sick, motion sick from like too much
Mm-hmm.
spinning. But then like later when Smoke comes back with Sammy, they do the same setup with more spinning.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, they don't pan to him that time. He just says, "Oh, you're watching the door," and then off screen you hear Delta Slim say, "Yeah, is that a problem? Don't think I can handle it." But regardless, that whole thing could have been one cut or one shot. Um, but
Maybe they
nitpick.
didn't want to overdo the one shots because there's a bunch of other one shots as well.
There's so many.
In the beginning, when the daughter's like crossing the street from store to store,
Yep.
that one's really great. I think especially because there's like so much other stuff happening.
Yeah, and I like the way that one's framed too.
Mm.
Like, doesn't really follow rule of thirds. We follow the daughter perfectly in the middle.
Yeah.
Just like the Asians at the time, right? They play both sides. Am I wrong?
Maybe that was the point.
I'm not wrong.
Maybe they're making a point.
Um,
But of course, the best one shot was of course the ancestor montage.
yep. First time through, I was like, was that one shot?
Yep,
Second time through, I was like, yes,
that's one
it
shot.
is. That
It just adds to that entire scene.
the the ancestor piece could have been done so poorly, but
Mhm.
it wasn't. It was done so well because how are all these ancestors off screen and then just appearing? Like that
Mhm.
first ancestor that appears from behind a dancing person,
Yeah.
great. To do one shot, then you follow Grace around as she gets Bo.
I don't remember.
She gets her husband, and then they
Yes.
go
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
dance, and then
Mhm.
everyone's dancing, and then it goes up into the sky. Probably a fake cut there.
Mm.
Actually, definitely a fake cut there because then they're all
Then
outside.
they go outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fake cut there as it then pans back down, and they're all in that fiery,
Yep.
and then it pans back
Mhm.
to behind the vampires.
Yeah. Pretty great stuff.
So good. Oh, I just like. Was it you that told me that they programmed a camera?
No.
So someone told me that they programmed a camera so that it would always do those exact movements. So for every
Oh.
take, it would be the same exact camera movements.
I see. And the people would have to move with the camera.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I think that's clever.
Yeah.
The something I want to point on with direction too. I think Ryan did a great job. I want to first name basis with him.
Oh, yeah, Ryan.
I think he did a great job at building tension
Yes.
when it was needed. The one that stands out to me is when Stack is with Mary in the room
Mhm.
and Perline is out on the stage
Yeah,
and
singing.
she's singing but like also stomping.
Mhm.
So it's getting louder, and then Smoke gets called into that back room where that guy's going insane because he's stealing,
Yes.
and then they're beating him out so that it's just getting more loud.
Mhm.
So good. That is.
Yeah, you don't even realize it until like you're there.
Yeah.
It's
And I was just like, something
what's gonna
is going
happen.
to happen. It's bad. If you watch the trailers, you knew what was going to happen. But um,
But also, I guess this is a mix of direction and cinematography. Um, the little details that Ryan Coogler put in that I didn't even realize, like watching it, I think they're almost supposed to be like subconscious details. But the main image of Stack and Smoke in the beginning when they're handing the cigarette back and forth, and it shows you Smoke, and behind him is the barn or the juke joint, and then Stack is to his right, but the juke joint is not behind him. It's just like the open sky and like the grass or whatever. And there's just a still of that. People are saying it's kind of like foreshadowing one of the one that's going to be outside and the one that's going to be inside. And then just the look on both of their faces. Also, just like Smoke is just like very serious, and then Stack has like a goofy smile on his face. Like,
well, I also think at the time that could also talk about, like, ultimately, Stack's goal is freedom, right? Like, he wants to be free.
mm-hmm.
And he is, behind him is nothing but open.
Mm-hmm.
And even though they say numerous times that it was Stack's idea, Stack, Smoke is the one that seems to take the juke joint more seriously.
Yes, he wants there to be structure and
Exactly.
yeah.
So he is in front of the juke joint, while Stack is in front of nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
It's just so clever.
I,
And oh no, I was gonna talk about like watching this just in a regular theater. It was great, but when you see it in IMAX,
oh yeah.
like even like the first I don't know 3 minutes of the movie, when Sammy's like about to go into the church, like that scene was a full screen scene on IMAX, and I'm just sitting there, and like the aspect ratio, it literally feels like I am standing in front of this church, and the lighting, it just feels like I am outside in front of this church. Like I don't think I've ever seen a movie and like felt like I was there like that. And that's like such a simple scene. It's not even like a big scene, but it's just beautiful.
The beautiful shots in IMAX were like all the scenic shots, and like the ones that really stuck out to me were just the scenic shots, the shots of
The fields, the sun.
one in the mid-credit scene. If you have not seen this movie, A, spoilers, obviously. I don't know if you're listening to this. B, stay for the mid and post-credit scene. The mid-credit scene is like probably the most important scene of the movie. We'll get into that, I think, a bit later when we talk about themes. But the shot of Smoke and Stack watching that sunset,
Yes.
gorgeous shot. I loved it, and seeing it
That big.
full,
Yes.
I was crying at that point. I'm not gonna lie. It's a pretty movie.
Yes.
It's pretty. Anything else with direction, cinematography, visuals?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Moving on to the score, soundtrack. What do you think of the score?
10 out of 10. I have it written down here that this might be my favorite movie score ever. Yeah, I know. It's. I am very drawn to movies that incorporate music. They end up being my favorite movies. But this one especially, I think because I knew there was going to be music in it, but I don't think I was expecting like how much of an impact it had on the movie. And it's just also beautiful and amazing. I don't know. I loved it.
For those of you that are not aware, Ludwig Göransson did do the music for this. He, in pop culture at least, he's done The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett. He won, I believe he won the Oscar 2 years ago for Oppenheimer's score.
Oppenheimer.
Which was also a great score.
I think he did Wakanda.
He did the Black Panther movies, both of them.
Yes. He works with Ryan Coogler a lot.
Yes. He is quickly becoming one of my favorite composers.
I was trying to think of something. I thought he was doing something next year, but I can't remember what it is.
Probably is.
I wanted to say it's the Christopher Nolan movie coming out next July.
Oh, the Odyssey.
Yeah.
He might.
I think he might be.
I mean, Nolan only works with him or Hans Zimmer.
Yeah. So either
I
way.
don't think he's worked with anyone else. Could be wrong. But either way, that's going to be great. The score here is heavenly. Just everything he's done. The intricate themes he puts in the music. So like it opens with a brief narration where it discusses different cultures, and it plays like a little bit of like a 3-second audio clip for each of the cultures, and those cultures, like those audio clips, return later in the movie during specific scenes. So like the Irish one is basically remix theme. Like it's played all the time, even to the point where he sings it. The song he sings is the melody from the earlier version, right? And then the African one is everywhere. Like it is the part. It builds into the ancestor scene because that makes sense. Talking about the ancestors earlier.
But then even like in the montage scene and stuff, when it does focus on a little bit of the Asian couple, then it kind of adds in some that traditional Asian sound, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly. The Once again, jumping back to that scene, the mix, the blending he does
Mm-hmm.
of the hip hop with
The rock,
the rock and the
like, obviously starts out as bluesy, a little bit of country in there,
mm-hmm.
but then like to like deep like African drum sounds. It's yeah.
Yeah, it's blended so well. It almost reminds me, he not to the same extent at all. He does a very similar thing with Black Panther,
Mm-hmm.
where, strangely enough, Michael B. Jordan's character, Killmonger, his music is more
Like that.
hip hop,
Yeah.
modern. I don't
Hip
know.
hop,
I don't listen
a
to
little bit of rap, you
I don't
know.
listen to it. But like everything else in Wakanda is very traditional
Mm-hmm.
African. And Killmonger, because he's trying to bring Wakanda into the future, has more modern day music, which is a great touch. He just does the same thing here, but like times 10.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I love is that the vampires had rock music as like their theme.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just shatters the comfortability of
Mm-hmm.
the blues the whole time, but then they also sing blues, so that's cool.
Yeah. I don't know. It just blew me away. I really enjoyed it. Also, for those of you that don't know, there's a score and a soundtrack album. Um, the soundtrack has some songs that weren't like explicitly in the movie, but when I listen to them more, um, I do hear the themes in them.
Mm-hmm.
Like specifically Haley Steinfeld's song. It's not in the movie, but when you listen to I believe it's the Twins Smoke and Stack song, like that intro and her intro are almost exactly the same. Like it's yeah.
I actually didn't pick up on that, and I've also listened to Haley Steinfeld's song a bunch, but that's another one worth mentioning. The Smokestack Twins is the name of the track, but like their theme song is so
Like
strangely comforting. Like when
yeah.
I heard it, I was like filmed with warmth.
It
Like
it feels like a sunset.
yes,
Yes.
yes, exactly.
Like it opens up with this like almost like a twangy string and it's just like so relaxing but like
Yeah, I the score. I just love the score. I love the soundtrack. Favorite song? Do you have a favorite song?
obviously that montage song.
Fair. Mine is Rocky Road to Dublin.
Well, that's fair. I also for some reason keep listening to Will Ye Go, Lassie Go. I don't know why. It's such like a basic like Irish folky but like easy listening song. I don't know, just nice.
Anything else on score or soundtrack?
No, I think it's gonna win an Oscar.
Yeah, that was going to be my closing arguments
If
as
it
well.
doesn't win an Oscar, I don't know.
If it doesn't, I mean, I'm excited because that means we
Something
got a
else.
better score than this during the year, according to
Yeah.
the Academy. Which
um,
all right. So we're gonna kind of start to wrap things up here. We're gonna talk about our standout moments of the film, themes of the film. Um, I want to talk about themes. I think there's a lot to unpack here. The most obvious one that's probably on the nose is the assimilation into white culture, right? Remick speaks truth and peace and whatever, but in order to do that, you literally have to be conformed into his ideals.
Yes. So like he kind of comes to them saying, "Oh, I understand how you're feeling. My people went through a similar thing." But then he ends up also trying to convince them to conform to what he wants.
The there's one that really sticks out to me that like really speaks to me, but I'm gonna save that one for last. The other one that I briefly touched on was religion and using it as a crutch in a way, right? So like as I talked about, Smoke doesn't really trust Annie's voodoo, right?
Yeah.
Because it didn't save the child, but it has saved him the whole time. It literally saves him at the end, but then at the end when he wants to die,
He takes it off.
he takes it off.
And he dies.
And he dies. So like, that's just
yeah,
something else. Um, Speaking of religion, there's that scene where Sammy starts reciting the Lord's Prayer, and then Remick starts reciting it too, and it's like, yeah, like I also was forced into this thing. Like we're common. Like I just
Yeah, also the contrast in that this whole time Sammy's kind of fighting that part of himself, but then when he thinks he's about to die, it's what he leans back on.
There's a lot of
Duality.
yeah, and then also interesting, his father kind of hates the fact that he's playing music, and it's the thing that that guitar is the thing that ultimately brings the vampires to him. It's also the thing that ends up kind of saving him.
Yes, I also think the very end scene, the post credit scene, when I watched it through the first time, I was like, oh, this is nice. But when I watched it the second time, I realized what it meant. He was singing This Little Light of Mine, I'm Gonna Let It Shine. And I was just like, oh, it's just the church song. But like, then you realize that like he chose his gift of music and chose to pursue that and share it with the world, let it shine, instead of like not doing that like his father wanted him to. And that's just,
yeah.
Even after everything, he's still.
He can't drop the guitar, even after everything. He can't drop the guitar. He leaves with that broken guitar in hand, and then he gets it fixed. Then he plays it, which ties in beautifully to the mid-credit scene, which is for standout moments. This is my second favorite scene in the movie, and I think it's a crime that some people left during the theater to like miss this. So Mary and Stack are still vampires, right? They're still around, and in the future, while everyone else is gone, Sammy is playing. They come, they meet him, they ask him to play one more time. He plays that same guitar, right? And then he talks about how like he still has nightmares about that night. But then he realizes that it was also his favorite,
the greatest night of his life.
And he asks the vampires if they agree. And Stack does. And I think it's important to remember that Stack has talked a ton, the whole movie, about freedom, right? And he doesn't really think he has it. He wants it. He does the juke joint to give other people freedom, right? He eventually joins the vampires, where he tries to convince Smoke that we were never going to be free. Like, we are, if you join us, we will finally be free. But when it's all said and done, his whole monologue is, last time I've seen my brother, last time I've seen the sunset, last time I've truly been free. Like, that's what he says. Like, it's so on the nose, but like it's so important to his character and the movie as a whole, because the promise, I mean, I guess all of the themes that I've been talking about really come together here, but like the promise promise that Remick gave him of you're gonna love life if you join me
Mhm.
is not really true for him because he's not actually free anymore. He thought he was,
I,
but he's
s-
not.
I still think he thinks it a little bit because he did try to convince Sammy that he could still
I mean, I just think that comes from
being a
the fact that he
vampire.
does love Sammy.
Oh,
He probably just wants to listen to his music all the time.
I was thinking, if being a vampire is so great, why did Remick always have to like chase after like trying to reconnect with his ancestors? So like it can't be a perfect world. So then I was wondering, I was like, well, why is Stack and Mary not feeling that same way? But then with that post credit scene, they had said that they bought all of Sammy's albums through like over the decades, and I'm like, well, I guess they're still kind of connected, so maybe they don't feel that same pull for connection that Remick felt yet.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that the connection part comes from the fact that that's what Remick wanted,
Mm.
right? And like, the rules are a little vague.
Yes, but it's in the beginning they explain that um, Sammy's gift, once in a generation type of thing, attracts the vampires.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wonder why Stack and Mary aren't like chasing that as well. Maybe it's just they haven't been vampires long enough. Remick seemed pretty old. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, they could just be content with what they have, you know. But I do. Part of me wonders if he asked Sammy if he wanted to stick around so that they could potentially have that music for. I mean, they're gonna have that music forever anyway because they have
Mhm.
the albums. But I just think they're content. Like I don't think they.
Feel that same.
I don't think they feel that same because I think that's. I genuinely think that's what Remick felt.
Mm.
Remick felt like he was forced into something he didn't want to be
Mhm.
a part of, and and because of that, he's trying to make
Get.
others join him this
Mhm.
crusade for equality and love and peace because that's not how he feels he was
Mhm.
like he wasn't given that choice.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, it's still not
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
really what. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, but I mean that mid credit scene, it stuck with me for a while. I thought it was great. The other one that's just kind of interesting is the guitar that at the end is revealed to be their father's.
Yeah, and even still, he couldn't let go.
Yeah, I mean it's basically a source of evil, like the whole movie. But
Mhm.
then at
But
the
then
end,
it's
it
what
just
saves him.
was what saved him. I also like Remick dunking him 2 times before
Wetting him.
dunking him in the water.
Dunking. Ah, yes.
It's baptism,
Mhm.
and then he goes up in a column of flame.
Yeah, because he thought he had him. You think he would have known? I don't know.
I mean, this is now the second vampire movie I've seen where like a vampire just kind of like forgets it's daytime.
That's true. Yep.
But I mean, admittedly, I think some people are a little confused on the ending. My interpretation of it is that
Which
he,
part?
some people don't know why he stayed out.
Remick?
Yeah. Some people are like, well, why did like all the vampires burn? Like you'd think they'd
Oh,
know when the day is coming.
I think they were all following him, and
Right.
I think he thought he was about to get Sammy, and then
Right.
they would go
Well, and
inside.
then like he got stabbed.
Yeah,
So like
he died.
they're all like crying out in pain, and
And then the sun
the sun
rises.
rises.
Mhm.
Like the column of flame, the burning is like more intense for him, and it's all the others that are there just like
Mhm.
dissipate.
I also think the silver of the guitar, um, and hitting him in the head, may have been like a distraction, so he didn't exactly realize like, hey, the sun's like literally about to come up. Also, there's a guy with a wooden stake about to kill you.
Because obviously all of them are distracted by
Yeah,
Silver
because they feel his pain.
because no way none of them were like, hey, shoot behind you.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
other standout moment for me, the very final scene where Smoke goes after the clan.
Oh yeah.
When he opens that trunk and Ludwig just starts.
Mhm.
Great sequence, great scene. So
Yeah, I feel like the end scene with the clan is like, it's not even like the premise of this movie. I feel like it's just like this, like, sort of in the background. You know, they buy the juke joint from them, and then you kind of don't really think about them anymore until like the very end when they're coming in. And you're like, oh, wait a minute. I think that was pretty clever.
Yeah, because like I did not think of them at all.
No.
I actually thought because it's like the final shot of like one of the two trailers, him in like that tank shot,
Yeah.
the machine gun.
You think that's him fighting the vampires?
Yeah. So I was like, oh, I guess we cut that, and then it's just there, and I was like, all right.
Yeah. Also the scene at the end, um, somebody pointed this out, where he keeps trying to roll that cigarette, but he's shaking and he can't. And then it points back to the beginning because there's always Stack that rolled the cigarettes. It wasn't him. It's like he couldn't roll that cigarette. I don't know. It's just,
It's the best part of it.
yeah. Also, the scene when he's like about to pass away, and then he sees what's her name? Annie with the baby. So good. Also, her line, I think this is a genius line, where she's like, you can hold him once you put that cigarette out because I don't want you to get no smoke on him. It's the double meaning. She doesn't want the baby to be like, smoke him as a person.
Um, this is a weird thing to get into. I've seen it 3 times now. I do think their child is a girl.
Does it not say?
I heard him the first time, but then the second 2 times I heard her.
Oh.
I'm excited for it to come out on digital so that I can watch it with
Subtitles.
and figure out exactly
Yeah.
what it was, but
I mean, at the end of the day, it probably doesn't matter.
it really doesn't. I don't think so.
No.
But I mean, I think it's more symbolic if it's a boy.
Yeah, because I think it literally means like she doesn't want her son to grow up to be like him as Smoke, doing gangster stuff.
And then I just love that he murders that guy, and she's like, "Here you go."
Yeah.
Funny. But any other standout moments for you that I haven't mentioned?
I mean, my number one standout moment is the montage. The visuals, the song is just, when it transitions from Sammy, like hitting a high note into that high guitar chord, and it just holds it. Like, I was just sitting in my seat, and like, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like, that spoke to my soul. And I think that's part of the reason why I love this movie so much.
I cried during that scene when we saw it in IMAX, but only during IMAX. It was like it was the big.
Yeah, it was huge. It was loud. It was great. It was like it consumes you. Yeah, no, I love that. That scene was really it for me. I like the whole movie, But that scene, yes, it was, yeah. My favorite thing to say about this movie is that it wasn't a movie, it was an experience. Yeah, because it was. Yeah. If you haven't seen it yet, you should go watch it.
Yeah, don't listen to us. Go watch it.
But like, still listen to us.
All right. Final rating.
So the first time I watched this, I gave it a 4.5. After thinking about it, I was debating a 5, but then after watching it the second time in IMAX, was a solid 5. Um, it's still a solid 5. I think my initial 4.5 rating was because my only caveat is, it's not even a bad caveat, is some of the gore scenes. I just felt like they looked a little too gore. I don't know.
You thought they were too gory?
Not too gory, but like too, I don't want to say cheesy gory, but like the way the blood was like splurted out, I was kind of like, eh.
I can agree. During the battle in the juke joint, there were some times where people were like stabbed, and it would be like,
Yeah.
5 little streams, and I'd be like, okay.
Yeah. Just a couple of those initially, I think, took down my rating. But at the end of the day, there's so many more important and like amazing things about it that we're a solid 5.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I gave it a 5 the first time. It's still a 5 the second time. I mean, it's like a 5.5.
Like yeah, I think it'll be hard to beat for me this year.
Yeah, I would be shocked. If I think there could be something that comes close. I would be shocked if anything beat it. Um, with that said, I do think this is a heavy Oscar contender for the year. My concern is that it's a horror film.
Yeah,
Doesn't love horror.
but it's already gotten so many like ratings and like accolades already because it's a horror movie that's done this. So I think that also the fact that it came out so early in the year has me a little worried for the Oscars.
Yeah.
But
I tend to forget about April movies.
but this is a little different because it's like so good and like I don't think people are expecting it. So I think it'll leave a lasting impression.
I definitely think it defied most expectations. So.
Yeah, it 1,000%. Going into it, I don't even know. Like, I thought it sounded cool. I thought it looked cool from the trailers. Didn't really know what we were getting into. But yeah, it blew me away.
So, there you have it. 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
Heavy Oscar contender, assuming they actually choose the best movies of the year.
Assuming they watch them all.
Yeah, assuming they watch them all. They have to now. They have to. So, that was an in-depth look at Sinners. We'll be back.
Thanks for joining us. Welcome back, everybody. To wrap up this week's episode, we're going to go into a segment that we call Real Rankings. It's just a segment about the top 5 for each of us, with this week's topic being top 5 new release movies that we are each looking forward to seeing this year. I will let Ian go first, starting with his number 5.
All right. My number 5, you'll notice a theme with me, I feel like, as I go up the list here. But my number 5 is a movie that I didn't love the first.
Hot take.
I liked the first. It is a hot take. I didn't love it. I did love the second, though.
Fully agree.
And the third one comes out December 19th, and that's Avatar, Fire and Ash. I gotta be honest, I know very little about the movie. I've seen very little of the stuff they've released at CinemaCon. That's basically it. But James Cameron is a great director.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mhm.
after the disappointment of Avatar 1. Worth mentioning, I didn't watch Avatar 1 when it came out. I watched it like 2 weeks before Avatar 2. So,
Mhm. So if you had watched it when it came out, you might have a little more appreciation for how well it was done for the time.
yes, most likely. And I get that's the whole drive of it and everything. But
Mhm.
the second one, I loved. I cried. I am very excited for the third, um, and I can't wait to see a trailer whenever it drops. So that's my number 5, coming December 19th.
So that exact movie is my number 4. I have seen a few things about it. I know we're going to be introduced to 2 new tribes. Obviously, fire, but also the air. I heard it's going to be the longest one yet. Or over 3 hours.
Perfect.
Maybe over 3.5. Like, I think this is like brutalist level hours.
Oh boy.
And I also heard that the director's wife cried for like an entire hour after watching it. This one's going to pull at the heartstrings.
Great. So if the third one is 3.5 hours, and they're making 2 more,
They just add an hour every
yeah,
time.
like are we gonna get like 5.5 hour movies coming up with an intermission?
I doubt it, but maybe it'll be more like an arc. This is the middle movie, so it's gonna be the longest. Maybe.
Maybe.
Um, I'm gonna go into my number 5, and that is Michael
Michael,
Jackson.
thanks for clarifying.
Oh, okay, yeah, you know him.
Yep.
Kind of famous.
Just a bit.
Um, as I mentioned, I really like movies that have a strong musical element to them. Um, I don't think I can think of any musical biopic that I haven't liked. Really liked Rocket Man. Really liked Elvis, which was surprising. I didn't think I was gonna like Elvis. I loved it. Um, so I have high hopes for this one. I think I'm gonna love it.
Weren't you like all right with a complete unknown?
With what?
A complete unknown.
A Complete Unknown is a little bit different because it didn't focus on his music. It focused more on like his relationships and like I don't know, just how he was as a person and like getting his start. Like it didn't really go into his career, which I think usually biopics do for like music artists. But this one wasn't like about that. But I know that Michael is going to be about like his creative process and everything. So I'm really looking forward to that.
I see. I see. Um, I am cautiously excited for Michael. I'm not the biggest biopic,
Music fan?
just biopic in general.
Really? I love a biopic.
I'm not a big biopic fan, which is why I think I loved Oppenheimer so much,
Oh,
because it
gosh.
like blew my mind for being a biopic. They just like don't interest me generally.
Really?
I
Ugh.
will be sad for Michael, just like how could you not? It's Michael Jackson.
Mhm.
I think it's gonna make a lot of money.
Yeah, as it should, honestly.
I mean, I think if it's good, it's gonna obviously make more money than if
Mhm.
it's bad. But I think it's gonna make a lot of money. Um, I will wait for a trailer on that for sure.
Yep. Number 4 for you?
Yeah, my number 4, hilariously, is Fantastic Four, coming July
Wow.
25th. Um, Look, I have not given up on Marvel. Never given up on Marvel. I am a huge Marvel fan, big MCU fan. Fantastic Four, everything about it so far looks very good. I think Marvel's riding a bit of a hot wave right now.
Mhm.
I think their plan to actually focus on making good movies instead of just
Yes, I was reading about this.
throwing out stuff
Kevin
is,
Feige's really
yeah,
laying
like
down the
I
law.
think that's gonna Brave New World is supposedly the last one that was made in that
Mhm.
quote unquote bad format, and like
Kind of makes sense.
it wasn't great. Um, but so I'm really excited for Fantastic Four. Um, yeah, I mean,
I have this as my number 3 movie. Um, when the first trailer dropped, I don't even know if it was a trailer. I think it was like a sneak peek at a con that I saw first. But instantly, the retro sort of vibe it's giving, totally here for that. I think it's great. Um, the music, I get stuck in my head all the time, and I
Tarantino.
haven't even heard the full song yet. Just that first bit, it just stuck in my head all the time. So I'm really excited for that. Um, Also Pedro Pascal. Where can you go wrong?
Yeah, I mean Pedro Pascal's in like everything now, um, but he's great. So like, how could you not? I think he's gonna be a perfect read. I'm
Mhm.
I'm very excited. I hope they do not let me down. This would be a true disappointment for me, I think. So, yeah, Fantastic Four. That's July 25th. Did we say Michael was October 3rd?
We did not. Michael is October 3rd.
Michael's dropping October 3rd. So, um,
My number 4 we already discussed was Avatar.
mm,
So let's go into your number 3.
um, should we do my number two first?
Yeah, we can do your number 2
Yeah,
first.
this doesn't make sense, but it's gonna make sense. My number two, in the same vein as Fantastic Four, is
Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts, which at the time of recording I have not seen. Um,
I didn't include this in my list because I know we're seeing it soon and it's already released, but just to say I am also hyped to see this.
that's fair. I went back and forth on it, and then I ultimately decided that I am really excited for it, so I'm gonna have to put it. Um, Thunderbolts again. Everything they've done is great. Um, I mean, Son Lux is doing the score. He did Everything Everywhere All at Once. I
Mm.
think it's a. I think it's a group.
Yeah, I think so.
I could be wrong. So they did Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I love that score. Um, so I'm excited for them to do the score. I mean, the whole team is just A24
Yes.
people,
Band of
which is just
Misfits. Yeah.
genius. Because A24 is like one of my favorite studios. Not their horror stuff. I would like to be very clear.
Yeah, I do think the Marvel released like a, I don't know if it was a trailer or like promo for this, like highlighting all the A24 people working on this, and I thought that was genius marketing. Some of their more recent marketing, not so much. But spoiler alert, um, we'll be talking about this movie next week, so we can get into that then.
It's already on the list to discuss next week.
Yeah.
This movie and the marketing that they chose to do. So,
Uh huh. Yeah.
but Thunderbolts, very excited, um, and the reviews are great, so it's just adding to the excitement. Um,
Marvel's back, baby.
Marvel is back, hopefully, unless Fantastic Four kills it. So that released May 2nd. Um, so yeah.
We want to go into my number 2.
Yeah, so my number one and number three are Allison's number one. No, yes. My number one and number three are Allison's number two and number one. So
That's not confusing at all.
we'll discuss.
So,
Your number two, which is also my number one,
Superman
Superman.
in theaters July 11th.
Go for your number two, and I'll just add
Um,
anything.
a part of the Super Jurassic July, if you haven't heard. Um, why am I excited for Superman? When I saw the first trailer, I think what got me the most is the visuals. Like, it just, I don't know if it's color scheme or something. Something was just working so well. And I was like, oh, they actually might have put some effort into this. DC, who knew? Um, but then realizing, oh, it's part of the new DCU, James Gunn. Pretty excited for that. To see where it goes. Also, recently heard that Warner Brothers, I think, is really banking on this. It's gonna like make or break them. Him in this new DCU. The sound also sounds amazing. The first, I think it was like a teaser they released. I think it's maybe the first scene. Um, looks good. Looks like it's there's gonna be comedy, but also I think it'll be serious. Um, I'm just excited for it. I think it's a new look for DC, and I will say, I'm usually a Marvel girly, aside from Wonder Woman, but I'm pretty excited for it, to see where DC goes.
Yeah, I will echo all of those sentiments. I think when it comes to me looking forward to a movie, I think I chose Superman. Not necessarily because I'm excited. I am, don't get me wrong, but I'm not jumping for joy excited like I am for like Thunderbolts.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're watching it this week. I'm stoked. The reason I have it at number one is because of the importance to the DCU. Like as we set it up, the importance to Warner Brothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I. It's interesting you say that they're banking on it because I'm not sure that's smart because DC hasn't been great. So part of me wonders this movie might not make a ton of money.
That's true. I think maybe when I say banking on it, I mean more like counting on it to keep like to get people interested back in their movies. Otherwise, they're gonna start to take the route of Sony.
Hmm,
Like
I
this
see.
is a make or break moment for them
I see.
in their
Yeah.
future.
I mean, I think it has to be good. I don't know if it has to make a ton of money for it to be successful. Um,
I think I just need people talking.
yeah, people need to talk about it, which I think they will. I'm not the biggest Superman fan, um, but the teaser trailer did really hook me on the world. You know, the first thing people think about when they, most people think about when they think Superman is, you know, he's invincible. Like, how can I relate to someone that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't take damage? And the
Yeah.
first shot of the teaser trailer is him bloodied
Pain.
on the ground, feeling pain. That is
Relatable.
that's good. Like that's good. Um, we'll see how James Gunn handles the comedy mix. You know, comedy's
Mm-hmm.
gonna come. The comedy mix with the
Serious.
seriousness, um, and how fans of previous
Mm-hmm.
interpretations of Superman will find this. But like James Gunn did Creature Commandos, he wrote that, and
Mm.
I mean that has a pretty good mix, I would say. I don't actually remember laughing at it all that much, but I thought it was really, I thought it was well done. Like it wasn't my favorite TV show of all time,
Mm-hmm.
but I thought it was well done. So I'm excited for it. I just think I put it my number one because of how I view it for the DCU.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I like DC Comics. I think they have better stories than Marvel Comics sometimes, probably most times.
I think sometimes they feel more relatable.
I can get behind that. So the DCU being good, I think will only help improve the MCU.
Yeah, some competition.
Yeah, healthy competition is good for both parties. So
Mm-hmm.
if Superman's good, that's a good sign for comic book movies as a whole, in my opinion.
Yeah, I will be interested to see with James Gunn doing it, how much it feels like Marvel in some of the Marvel movies he's done,
Mm-hmm.
or how much like he keeps it its own identity.
Yeah, I feel like there does kind of have to be a distinction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. So as we said, that's flying into theaters
Ha
to my
ha
left.
ha.
Um, so your number one and my number three. I'll go ahead and say it, and then explain, and then you can jump in with what else. So, Allison's number one. My number three is Wicked for Good. That is hitting theaters November 21st. Um, I don't. I mean, I don't have a ton to say actually about Wicked or Wicked for Good. The Wicked movie was one of the greatest experiences I had last year. I think
Mhm.
the way that they managed to take a stage show and turn it into a movie that actually worked, and it felt bigger. It felt, dare I say, better.
Ooh. Ooh.
Um, and to me, all of it worked.
Mhm.
Cynthia's voice is
Ah.
amazing. Ariana killed it.
Mhm.
Um, I just, it was so good. I saw it twice. Both
Mhm.
times, outstanding. Tears were in my eyes. Um, Waiting for Good is just going to be more than that. The
Yeah.
reason it's probably not my number one is because I've seen the stage show
Mm.
and I don't like the second half as
Uh
much as
huh.
I like the first half.
Fair.
So I kept it down a little bit, but in terms of quality, I'm sure it's going to be on the same level.
Mhm.
I have faith in John Chu. I have faith on the team. I have faith in the actors, the actresses. I have faith in all of them to
Mhm.
bring us another good movie. For me, it's just, will I enjoy it as much as the first?
Right.
That's the question. Why is it number one for you?
So number one for me, um, when I saw Wicked last year, it was my number one movie of the year last year. Loved it. Again, surprise, surprise, strong music element. We're sensing a theme here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have not seen the full like theater production of Wicked. I've definitely seen songs, clips, the Glee version, throwback. So I didn't know like the full story or had seen like the full play production. So going into this, I didn't know exactly what to expect, but I loved every single moment of it. Honestly, the songs were amazing. Um, Cynthia Erivo, love her. Uh, I also think I haven't related to a character as much as I related to Elphaba in like so long. Like it, I don't know. It was just so good. The production was great. Everything about it was great. Also, I watched that in theaters twice. So, and I don't rewatch movies.
Mm-hmm.
So, pretty hyped for the second one. I know a little bit of where the story goes, so I'm not gonna be like shocked. I mean, obviously, they revealed like the first scene of the movie where it's gonna go,
Mm-hmm.
but still pretty excited for songs. I kind of think I might have heard there are some originals this time.
I do believe that's true,
Pretty hyped for that.
but I think um, that's scary to some people. Cynthia is helping to write them, so
Well, I'm pretty sure she helped with writing The Greatest Showman, so and that was amazing as well. So
perfect.
I am just looking forward to it.
All right. So there you have it. There's our top five. We'll go ahead and recap my top five. Number five, Avatar: Fire and Ash. Number four, Fantastic Four. Number three, Wicked for Good. Number two, Thunderbolts, and number one, Superman. Allison.
My top five. At number five, we have Michael. At four, Avatar, Fire and Ash. At three, Fantastic Four. At two, Superman. And number one, Wicked for Good.
There we have it. Any quick honorable mentions?
No.
All right. I have one.
Okay.
If I didn't include Thunderbolts, I would have included Life of Chuck.
Yeah, see, I was going to include that one, but I was like, I don't know enough about the story for me to really elaborate. I'm intrigued by it. Definitely looking forward to it. Just maybe it'd be my number six.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That I could not elaborate very much on it. I love the vibe the trailer went for. It looks like it's swinging for the fences in terms of Oscars.
Mhm.
And I have a friend that adores the story and is super excited. So it's hard for me not to be excited. Um, yeah, it would have been on my list if I didn't include Thunderbolts. And that's basically it. So that was real rankings. Um, let's go ahead and close this episode out with some side quests we're doing. What are you working on? What are you doing? Playing? Watching? What's going on?
Watching so many things. Too many things, honestly. Um, Andor, season 2.
Andor season 2.
Amazing so far. A lot, though. Like, I don't remember the first season being, like, feeling like this much was happening.
I think it's because the first season was released episode at a time.
I hate to say this, because I am a binger. I love to binge. But I kind of wish they didn't release so many at one time.
It's a lot. Like, it's a lot. And specifically, without going into spoilers, for side quests, we won't discuss spoilers. We will be sure to throw out a spoiler warning. For the last 3 episodes specifically,
Mm-hmm.
it felt like so much more was going on in 3 episodes than
Yes.
the first 3 episodes.
I would agree with that.
First 3, I was like, all right, I can handle this. The last 3, I
Mm-hmm.
was like,
I kind of feel like the first 3, they were, like, setting it up. Like, there's a little more, like, building. And then this next 4, 5, and 6 episode, where they were just like, here's, like, 5 different stories, and a lot is happening in all of them.
7, 8, 9 would probably be worse.
Uh,
And then 10, 11, 12.
Insane.
Because that's going right into Rogue One. So.
Oh, yeah.
Really catches up. I personally am most excited for this batch of episodes.
Okay.
I think I say this batch when recording on a Tuesday. It's out right now, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But this batch of episodes is what I think everything is leading up to.
I see.
And then I kind of feel like the last 3 episodes might just be more of a tie-in into Rogue One. But I think this is going to be our climax
I see.
of the season. So I am really excited for this 3 episodes. I think these 3 can like make or break the season.
I mean, it's already been made so far.
It's good. Personally, I'm not loving it as much as I love season 1.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that, but I think it's partially like the pacing for me.
It's a different vibe, like for sure. Like it's different. It's doing its own thing. I feel like it's not even telling. It's
Yeah.
not really even telling the same story that season
Yeah.
1 was telling, and they're telling it in a different way than how they told season 1. So.
And I'm not gonna lie, one of the first thoughts I had was this feels very Dune Prophecy. Like, it's almost insane how much it feels it. Like, I have to think, wait, did that happen in this show or did that happen in Dune? Like, that's the parallels are almost a little too similar, but we'll see.
I have yet to finish Dune Prophecy.
Oh,
So
slacker.
maybe one day.
Huh.
What else?
What else? The Last of Us season 2. Didn't play the game. That was a rude awakening, episode 2.
How's the rest of it going?
Good so far. The most recent episode especially was really good. I'm ready for this this vengeance streak that Ellie's gonna go down. I think that's the only thing that's gonna make up for that episode 2. I really hope we at least get maybe some flashbacks of Joel. Again, Pedro Pascal. It's really the year of Pedro Pascal.
It really is.
What else? Been playing a lot of Disney Dreamlight Valley.
Yeah.
You mentioned it the other day, and I started getting back into it on my phone to see if I had the same quests as you had on the PlayStation, and I did, and now I'm really into it. It's currently probably my cozy game of choice.
Nice.
Play it for like an hour every day, come back the next day. Yeah.
Yeah. Disney Valley is kind of a home run to me. Like
Mhm.
it just it. Anytime I play it, I'm just like happy and like I'm always like, okay, maybe just like 30 minutes, and then I find myself on there for 2.5 hours, just like doing quests. So yeah,
Yep.
yeah, I get that. I totally do. The current update is Alice in Wonderland, so they introduced
Mm.
Alice.
Mhm.
And Cheshire Cat, actually, at the time of recording, hits Valleys tomorrow. So
Wow.
it's exciting.
What are your side quests?
Well, Andor Season 2, we already discussed. Um, I'm not playing as much Disney Dreamlight Valley because I am playing Clair Obscure Expedition 33. And to the listeners out there, if you consider yourself an RPG fan that enjoys turn-based combat, not actually, don't even, not even that part. If you consider yourself an RPG fan, you should be playing Expedition 33. It is genius on so many levels. The combat, while turn-based, is, how did I explain it? It's turn-based that forces you to pay attention. You have to hit buttons to do more damage. You can parry, you can dodge. You just don't
Mm.
necessarily get hit with an attack like you normally do for turn-based. Combat is genius. Exploration is genius. Characters, genius. Writing, genius. I music,
Whoa.
music,
Mhm.
genius. We were talking about how good Ludwig's score was for Sinners. This score, I don't even know who did it right now, is phenomenal
Wow.
for this game. I just got to the end of Act One. I
Speechless.
I just like I don't even know what to say after the end of Act One. It's a brilliant game so far.
Game of the year?
Clear front runner to
Mm.
me.
Wow.
Clear front runner. Very similar to Sinners. I would be shocked if I play anything I like more
Mm.
than this year. I have a couple games I'm excited for coming out this year. Um, I would be shocked if any of them beat this.
Interesting.
It's so good. If you're a turn-based, I keep saying that. If you are an RPG fan, this is for you. Like if you're an RPG fan that plays Final Fantasy and you think, what's up with these combat?
Spoiler alert. Ian really likes Final Fantasy.
What's up with this combat stuff going on? This will put all of that to shame.
Wow.
It,
This is better than Final Fantasy.
the only, well, they all have some questionable combat mechanics after 10. Like, they get weird.
Okay.
Except for the remake and the rebirth, that has
Mhm.
a pretty good combat system. But this is, it's just an outstanding game. I'm a third of the way through. It's outstanding. I am so excited to play more of it. But yeah, those are really my main two
Nice.
side quests. So, fun little update into our lives. Anything else you want to say?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in today. We hope to see you back next week as we talk about our next movie.
Thunderbolts.
Probably Thunderbolts. Definitely Thunderbolts. Not probably. So, until next time, thank you very much for tuning in. I'm Ian.
And I'm Allison.
And this has been Post Credits Commentary.
Bye.